A man in a business suit walks to the tail of a flying passenger jet, opens a staircase that should not open in the air, and steps out into the freezing dark over black wilderness with $200,000 strapped to his body. He is never seen again. 8:13 at night, the 24th of November, 1971, the world will come to know him as D.B. Cooper. To this day, it is the only unsolved act of air piracy in American commercial aviation history. You're cleared for this one. File 002. The seal is broken, the folder open on the desk in front of you. 3 questions run under everything inside it, and the file answers none of them. Who was he? Did he survive the jump, and where did the money go? And in 2026, after more than 50 years, the case stirred again. A new suspect named, and the FBI reportedly taking one more look at the old evidence. And every file ends the same way. The page where you finally see the real face. Hold that thought, turn the page. The afternoon of November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve. A man in a dark business suit walks up to the Northwest Orient counter in Portland, Oregon, and buys a one-way ticket for $20. He gives the name Dan Cooper, not DB. That comes later, and it's a mistake. Hold that thread. He takes a seat in the very last row, 18E. He orders a bourbon and 7-Up and lights a Raleigh filter tip. Witnesses will remember a white man in his mid-40s, around 6 feet, dark hair, brown eyes, olive skin. Calm, polite. No accent anyone can place. The most forgettable man on the plane. Flight 305 is a Boeing 727 bound for Seattle. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper folds a note and hands it to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. She's used to this. A businessman, a phone number. She drops it into her purse without reading it. He leans toward her. Quietly. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." She looks. Neat felt tip capitals. "I have a bomb in my briefcase and want you to sit by me." Then he opens the briefcase. A row of red cylinders, wires, a battery. Nobody on that aircraft will ever be certain it was real. Doesn't matter. Belief is enough. The demand is precise. $200,000 in unmarked $20 bills. And 4 parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve. $200,000 in 1971 is worth well over $1 million today. Notice the parachutes. He asks for 4 as if he might bring someone with him. A detail that haunts the people negotiating for their lives. He is not improvising. Hold that thought, too. Turn the page. Flight 305 does not land. Not yet. It circles the darkening waters of Puget Sound for nearly 2 hours while, on the ground, agents scramble to meet a hijacker's shopping list. They photograph every bill. $10,020 notes, most carrying serial numbers that begin with the letter L. Captured on microfilm before delivery. A permanent fingerprint of the money itself. Remember that. It becomes the spine of everything that follows. At last, the plane touches down at Seattle-Tacoma. The money comes aboard in a bank bag. 4 parachutes. And Cooper keeps his word. He releases all 36 passengers and flight attendant Florence Schaffner in exchange. But he keeps the crew and 1 flight attendant in the cabin with him. Her name is Tena Bar. She is 22 years old. For the next several hours, she is his go-between and the closest living witness to what a calm man looks like in the middle of the impossible. His instructions to the cockpit are exact. Refuel, fly toward Mexico City with a stop in Reno. Landing gear down, flaps at 15 degrees, airspeed near 100 knots. Altitude no higher than 10,000 feet. These are not a tourist's numbers. These are the settings you choose if you intend to leave the aircraft while it is still in the air. And Cooper has one more requirement: that the 727's rear air stair, the staircase that folds down from the tail, remain operable. It is one of the only jetliners in the sky that can be opened and walked out of in flight. He knew that. There is one more detail in the file, and it is the coldest of them all. Of the 4 parachutes, one is a dummy, a training reserve with its canopy sewn shut, useless. Cooper inspects them. He takes the working chutes and leaves the sewn one behind. He knows the difference between a parachute and a prop. Again, this man is not guessing. Around 7:40 in the evening, Flight 305 lifts off from Seattle, low and slow, pointed south. Cooper sends Tena muck-low forward to the cockpit and tells her to stay there. He lowers the aft stairs himself. Now picture what he steps into: heavy rain, near freezing air. A wind chill around 200 miles an hour tearing up through the open stairwell. Rugged black forest below, somewhere over southwestern Washington. Night. He is dressed in a business suit and street shoes with roughly 20 pounds of cash strapped to his body. At 8:13 p.m., the crew feels the tail of the aircraft pitch suddenly upward. A single bump in the dark. That is the last confirmed moment anyone knows where D.B. Cooper was. The plane lands in Reno late that night, agents board with guns drawn. The cabin is empty. The money is gone. 2 parachutes are gone. And so is he. So. The first question: did he survive? Here's what the file can tell you and where it goes silent. In the weeks and months that follow, the FBI throws everything it has at the presumed drop zone. Ground searches, air searches, soldiers on foot. No parachute, no body, no trace of a human being. The Bureau's own analysts doubt an amateur could survive a night jump in freezing rain into forest at that speed. And yet, not one bone, not one buckle, not one shred of him has ever surfaced. That is the answer to the first question. There isn't one. He simply stops. But the money is a different story. Because 9 years later, some of it comes back. Keep that in view. First, the name. The man on the plane called himself Dan Cooper. In the rush to file the story, a wire service reporter garbled it, and D.B. Cooper went out to the world. The Bureau corrected the record almost at once. It didn't matter. The most famous name in American crime belongs to no one. Even that is a kind of vanishing. The Bureau codenames the investigation NORJAK, Northwest Hijacking. In early 1972, they do the one thing that should make the case airtight. They send the full list of ransom serial numbers to every bank, every casino, every police department that will take it, and release it to the public. 10,000 marked bills. If a single one is ever spent, the trail lights up. And then a nothing. Not one of those bills turns up in circulation. Not that year, not that decade, not in more than half a century of watching. Which is what makes February 10th, 1980 so difficult to explain. An 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram smoothing a patch of Columbia River sand for a campfire at a spot called Tena Bar turns up something buried just beneath the surface. 3 deteriorating bundles of $20 bills, about $5,800. The FBI checks the serial numbers against the 1971 microfilm. They match. It is Cooper's ransom, the first and only piece of the money ever recovered. Turn the page, because this find does not solve anything. It breaks things. Here is the problem. Cooper is believed to have jumped over land over the forests of southwestern Washington, but Tena Bar is a riverbank and the money is found in the sand of the Columbia. The bundles are still held together by their rubber bands, which should have rotted away long before, and their condition suggests they were carried there by water and buried in the sand. That fits no clean version of the story. Not the timeline, not the geography, not the physics of a man who jumped into the trees. More than 5 decades on, no one has fully explained how that cash traveled from the sky over the forest to the bank of a river. And that is the answer to the second question. The one planted the moment the money came back. Where's the rest of it? Where are the other $194,000 gone? Every bill accounted for on microfilm, and all but a handful never seen again. The rest is silence. When Cooper stepped into the dark, he left one thing on his seat: a black clip-on tie with a small mother-of-pearl clip. For 30 years, it sat in an evidence file. Then, around 2001, the Bureau pulled partial DNA from it. Up to 3 partial samples. But the FBI has always cautioned that the DNA may not even be Cooper's. A clip-on tie can be borrowed, it can be bought secondhand. The one intimate trace he left behind may belong to a stranger. The Bureau never signed off on what came next. But in 2017, a volunteer group working with the FBI's blessing, amateur scientists who call themselves the Citizen Sleuths, led by a paleontologist named Tom Kay, put the tie under an electron microscope. What they found was strange. Thousands of microscopic particles, and among them pure unalloyed titanium and rare earth elements, cerium, strontium, sulfide. The argument they build is this: unalloyed titanium was rare in 1971, used almost only in aerospace and advanced chemical work. A man carrying it on his tie may have spent his days inside a plant that built airplanes, perhaps Boeing itself. And that is the third thread, the one planted at the very start. Was Dan Cooper an aerospace insider, hiding in a business suit? Look at what points that way. He knew the 727 could be opened from the tail in flight. He knew which parachute was a dummy. He chose an altitude and an airspeed built for jumping. Even the alias, Dan Cooper, matches the hero of a Belgian comic book about a military test pilot, a character almost unknown in America, hinting at someone with European or military aviation exposure. Every clue says the same thing. This was a man who understood airplanes. The file just can't tell you which one he was. There is a point in every file where you get to see them, the real face behind the story. Turn to that page here and you find a drawing. A composite sketch built from the memories of strangers who sat near a calm man on a Thanksgiving Eve flight. A guess. In pencil. Because that is all that has ever existed. No photograph, no mugshot, no driver's license, no morgue tag. In more than 50 years, not one confirmed image of the man in seat 18E. So the one line this file always gets to say, "This is what he actually looked like," is the one line it cannot. Nobody alive knows. The most hunted face in America is a stranger's pencil sketch of an average man, and it may look nothing like him at all. That is the whole of it. He didn't just take the money. He took his own face with him. Over 50 years, the file fills with names. Everyone is a theory. Not one has ever been charged, let alone convicted, as D.B. Cooper. There is Richard McCoy Jr., who that following April staged a nearly identical hijacking. Rear stairs, a parachute, $500,000, was caught, convicted, escaped prison, and was killed in an FBI shootout in 1974. He was never charged as Cooper. There's Kenneth Christiansen, a Northwest purser and paratrooper who paid cash for a house the year after, and his brother says half confessed before he died. There's Dwayne Weber, whose deathbed words were, "I'm Dan Cooper." But the tie's DNA reportedly didn't match. And Robert Rackstraw, a paratrooper named by investigators in 2016 and never charged. Theories, all of them. And there is the newest one. Since 2023, an aviation investigator named Dan Grieder and the family of that same Richard McCoy have come forward, pointing to a recovered parachute rig and a skydiving logbook they say the family kept for decades. None of it is proven, but it is the closest anyone has come in 50 years. Close enough that the Bureau is reportedly looking at the DNA again. As of this file's date in 2026, no match has ever been announced. Turn the page. One last time. On July 8, 2016, after 45 years, the FBI quietly did what its analysts had long resisted. It suspended the active investigation. The Bureau said it would reopen the case only for two specific things: the parachutes or the marked money. Physical evidence or nothing. The state stopped looking. The hijacking left one lasting mark. Because of Cooper, the FAA ordered a device fitted to every 727, the Cooper vane, a wedge that makes it impossible to lower the aft stairs in flight. He is the reason no one can ever do again exactly what he did. Everything else he kept. So return to the first question, the one under the whole file. Did he survive? The forest gave back no body. The river gave back $5,800 and no explanation. The tie gave back titanium and a stranger's possible DNA. And the man himself gave back nothing at all. The only unsolved skyjacking in American history has no ending. Because the one person who could write it stepped out the back of an airplane and into the dark, and never came down. This file does not close. It cannot. Somewhere in the stack, the next folder is already waiting. Another calm man, another impossible exit, another name that isn't real. File 003 is already on my desk. Your clearance was temporary. One click below makes it permanent. File 002, DB Cooper. Status: remains open.